Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. I've missed you. We're going to start with our riddle. What did the tree wear to the pool party? Think about it. Today's story has something to do with gardening again. Now, I'm not outside because it's a little warm. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I'm going to read inside today. The story I'm reading is called Seeds and Trees by Brandon Walden, illustrated by Kristen and Calvin Howdeshow. Now, this is a fictional story, and I want you to keep in mind that the author wrote this book, and in his story, the seeds are words. So I want you to think about the words you use or people use with you. In the land of the king lived a special young prince who loved climbing trees and playing with friends. He lived in a castle overlooking the sea. He played in a field with his two kinds of trees. I love the illustrations in this book. He carried a satchel slung low on his waist to contain all the seeds he might want to exchange. Each seed was a word that someone had spoken. Each seed was collected, a trinket, a token. It didn't quite matter from where it had come, a stranger, a friend, a whisper made up. He rose every morning and watered the seeds from each of the words he'd already received. Now look at the trees. Do you think some of the words were good and some were not so nice? When someone spoke nicely, not anything mean, they'd hand him a seed whose true essence was green. But sometimes the seeds would come bringing pain, seeds of dark color whose trees produced shame. Several dark seeds grew quickly, then withered. Others remained to grow slowly, unhindered. At the end of each day, he'd admire the seeds and go plant the new ones and play in his trees. Which trees would you rather play in? Green ones or the darker ones? The trunks and the branches of the dark trees were laden with thistles and thorns, causing pain as he scaled them. Climbing these trunks and the branches was tricky. Each part of the tree that he grasped was quite prickly. Each time the prince climbed, he was bruised and was slit. Yet trees are for climbing, he thought, so pain he'd persist. But each time he climbed up the trees clothed in green, he felt safe and healed, as those trees weren't mean. So which trees are mean and which trees does he feel safe in? His trees were strong, his green trees were strong, and they welcomed his touch. Their branches grew fruit he could eat and could clutch. He could sit at the base or climb to the peak. He could rest in the branches or play hide and seek. As years passed, he noticed his green trees were weakening. The trunks at the base of the trees needed strengthening. Now the soil had hardened as life was escaping. Their canopies were covered. His dark trees had shaded them. So his green trees are not doing very well because of the dark trees. Even if you look at the illustration, look at the roots. Can you tell which roots are which? He would plant his green seeds and dark seeds beside. They'd war with each other and try to survive. His green trees were strongest with plenty of light, but his dark trees grew stronger in the darkness of night. They shared the same water and sunlight to grow, but the dark trees were hiding the fruit that would show. The green trees caused life, joy, and peace to grow near, but the dark seeds killed soil and grew trees clothed in fear. What do you notice about the words in the story? The field the prince planted had started to show many trees of two kinds and the fruit that had grown. The fruit fell like seeds to the soil down below, filled with seeds to be gathered, to given or sown. The young prince grew strong and became a young man. He continued to plant seeds that were placed in his hand. He'd invited some friends to come play in his trees. But some liked to play in his trees from dark seeds. Why is that? He had one special friend who always spoke true. Her words filled with grace, as good friends always do. She never spoke harshly and never spoke lies. She always spoke gently with loving replies. She always gave green seeds and never took black back. She never ran out. There was never a lack. Her satchel was filled to the brim, overflowing with green seeds, not dark seeds, each one for the sowing. When you sow a seed, you plant it in the ground. She watched the prince till, plant, and water his grove. She watched and waited until asked to go. One day the prince said, "Hey friend, come along." She humbly agreed and began singing a song. To the grove, we will look down below, all at the roots in the soil and the trees that have grown. We will care for your green trees and even plant more seeds, but your dark trees will fall as this new life is sown. As he walked in the field with his friend side by side, the young prince took note as his trees came alive. Green trees swayed now to the sound of the tune, but the dark trees stood stiff, clenched their fists, and seemed rude. After long years of planting and watering seeds, they'd grown into mighty and powerful trees. The prince reminisced as he entered the grove. He thought back to each tree and the seed that was sown. He admired the beauty the green seeds she created, but noticed at the roots they were sadly ill-fated. His friend came prepared and brought tools along. The prince hadn't noticed, but his friend was quite strong. The tools that she carried were weathered and humble, a pickaxe, a saw, and an old rusty shovel. The friend asked the prince to please pick out a tree, one causing pain that he'd rather not see. The prince pointed up to one skinny, dark mass. His friend said, "Watch this," and she took out her axe. With one mighty swing, the tree fell to the ground. Then his friend dug her shovel deeply down. The root had to die and be plucked from the dirt. Then a green seed was sown, planted and covered with earth. The prince then exclaimed, "Can you cut down more trees?" His friend said, "Oh yes, I have plenty of seeds." Many dark roots had tunneled so deep that it took them a while to dig underneath. Dark roots wrapped close around the green everywhere, so the friend showed the prince how to tend them with care. One tree had a lot of dark roots. Her tools came in handy, the axe, saw, and shovel, and others the friend had brought here to the struggle. Then came a day when his forest was green. Not a dark tree was spotted, not anywhere mean. The friend then surprised the grown prince with some gifts, some tools for his new daily watering shifts. She instructed the prince not to plant the dark seeds, but to go to the cliff and cast them out to sea. Means throw them out, cast. If you fish, like casting a line. The prince held the green seeds, and those seeds were all saved. But he tossed the dark seeds off the cliff into waves. Then he traveled to new fields abounding with trees, making sure that he packed his old satchel with seeds. to the grove, we will look down below at the roots in the soil and the trees that have grown. We will care for the green trees and even plant more seeds. But the dark trees will fall as this new life is sown. And that is the end. Now, this is the author, and he says, be careful what you water, for surely it will grow. That's kind of like our words. If you say mean things or think mean thoughts, or someone says them to you and you give them power, then they grow inside of you. If you say, that's that person's problem, I don't know why they use those mean words, I'm gonna cast them out or throw them over the cliff. And then when someone says something nice to you, keep it inside and let your heart grow. That's kind of what this is talking about. Okay, the answer to our riddle. What does a tree wear to a pool party? Swimming trunks. Get it? Okay, I have a surprise visitor for you. I bet you'll enjoy seeing him. Be right back. Okay, I have our surprise visitor. Can you see him? It's Spot. How many of you have missed Spot? He's been safe in my home. Yep. Been feeding him and giving him water, giving him the seeds he needs to grow for life. Not real seeds, but worms, those are his seeds to grow. Talk to him every day. Hi, Spot. You want to say hi to everybody? I know Spot misses all of you. Every morning he comes out of his cage, kind of looks around to see if anybody's there. He's like, it's just Miss Olivas. It's okay. He still misses us, but I wanted you to know Spot's doing great. I'm taking great care of him. I've actually had a friend take care of him for a little while too. They wanted to visit with Spot for a while, so they were able to. Tomorrow, why don't we wear crazy socks? I know we were supposed to do that and we forgot, so we're gonna do it again tomorrow. I miss you, I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.